Hello, everybody out there. My name is Oliver G. This is the Earful Tower, and at the start of the year, we put together our bucket list, and one of the things that I said I wanted to do was a French cooking class. And believe it or not, out of the clear blue sky, I got an email from Cooking with Class on the other side of Montmartre, and they said, Oliver, we hear you want to do some cooking. Come along and try our sauce making class. And I said, that sounds like a wonderful idea. So I went along. I made 7 French sauces, mayonnaise, béarnaise, hollandaise, that kind of stuff. And I really, really enjoyed the whole thing. A 4-hour class. I loved it. It was exactly what I was looking for. So after the class, I said to the guys at Cooking with Class, I said, this was a really great experience. I think this is the kind of thing that Earful Tower listeners might just like. So what you're going to hear this whole month is me giving a shout out to Cooking with Class. I hope a handful of you go and take their classes because I said to them it's a free sponsorship if no one signs up. So the ball is in your court, Earful Tower listeners. Go and check this out. There's a link in the show notes below. Cooking with Class. I recommend the sauce making class. More info in the show notes below. Check them out because I said you would. Now let's get on with the episode.
Hello, everyone.
We're doing a topic today that comes with, I think, a little chat at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Quickly just saying, we're going to be talking about raising our 2.5-year-old son trilingually.
Yeah.
But it comes with this caveat that we're not it's by circumstance.
Oh, yeah. It's not like we're being very ambitious parents here.
No.
Not on purpose.
I think maybe the best way to put it is if I had married an Australian woman, stayed in Australia, I don't think I would even have considered teaching another language.
I wouldn't have thought of it.
There you go. So the circumstance is Lina is Swedish, I'm Australian, and we live in Paris. Mm-hmm. So there's 3 languages at play. Our son, Otis, speaks French when he's at the daycare, the crèche. It's called the crèche. Speaks Swedish with Lina, speaks English with me. And whatever you do out there as parents, whatever your parents have done, this is not what we're trying to teach or anything here. This is just what happens.
It's just natural circumstances.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of an interesting topic. People have asked for it, so here it goes. And I also feel we could do this topic again in a year and it might be totally different.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, a quick review because that's what I've been asking for lately. 5 stars from LH Harvard in United States of America. And they say, I blame this podcast.
Oh.
So I've got this negative, but also 5 stars. Suspect it's going to change. I blame this podcast for my love of Paris.
Ah, there we go.
I found the Earful Tower shortly after my first visit to Paris in 2018. I've been a listener ever since. The problem is, I now can't stay home too long before Oliver and Lina convince me to book another trip to my favorite city. Did you hear that? City of France Tourism Board sponsorship program.
Exactly.
Good to hear, LH Harvard.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
Thanks for listening. Now, a little bit of music and then we'll get into it. Thanks to Press for the music. Now, I also thought it could be a bit weird if we just sit here talking to each other about how we raise our sons. So what we did is we asked the Patreon members, the patreon.com/the Earful Tower, so the members of this show, what they want to know, and we're going to be answering their questions. So the first one, I'll let you read out.
All right. So this one is from Josie, and she says...
Hello, Josie.
Hi, Josie. I love that Otis is able to speak with both grandparents. So when Otis is playing by himself at home, which language does he choose? Does he have sentences with all 3 languages in it?
I think to answer the first bit, and I think the main answer is at the moment he prefers English.
Yeah, because we speak English at home mostly. I mean, I speak to him in Swedish, but as a family we speak English, I guess.
I'm going to disagree.
Or me and you speak English.
I think there's a lot more Swedish
creeping in.
Well, even you speak Swedish to me now a lot.
Yeah.
But
maybe
I think
maybe it's changing.
I think it's
ever
also
developing.
that I think I talk an awful lot.
Yeah, you do.
I think.
I mean, it's your profession.
Yeah. So I think I'm forcing language on him by talking a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm always sort of seeing what he can repeat. I find it really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's the lingua franca. Lingua franca. I think that means the main language.
Oh, right.
Is English. But when he's playing by himself, anything goes. Oh my goodness. Anything.
Oh, and he has preferred words for different things.
We all do as a family.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. There are some words. The other day he came home and I did something he didn't like. And he made his fingers into a cross and said, Interdit, daddy, which means
it's
like
forbidden.
Forbidden. Like, I assume that's what they say at creche, or maybe the kids say it, or maybe the teachers say it. And so now that's become the word that we use.
Oh yeah, that's
we can get into this in a second. I never thought I'd use foreign words.
I know.
I've seen other parents do it.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd do it.
And no judgment, but I've always been a bit like, why don't you use your own language?
Yeah.
Like,
Me too.
What's the point of
until you live it, you can't get it.
Exactly.
So like there's some, especially food.
Yeah.
A lot of
Well, he just knows some things under one name, and it's just become simpler to keep it that. And yes, we could introduce it in the different language or second language, but yeah, some things have just kind of been cemented in one language.
But he comes home and sings in French, and he'll say weird things in English or Swedish or French. Sometimes we don't know what's going on.
But I do like this last bit of the question. Does he have sentences with all three languages in it? And actually, he has one that he says sometimes, and it's instead of like yes please or yes thank you or ja tack, he went we tack you. So we French tack, Swedish for thank, and you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He said to you
So
before,
I like that one.
Before he went to school this morning, he turned to you and said, "Au revoir, mummy."
I know.
So that's French and English with you. So it's all over the place, really. He's still quite young.
Yeah. I've heard that around 3, like 3.5, it kind of, he can categorize way better. Like he will learn, this is definitely this language. And at the moment, he's kind of mixing.
And I should add, we have some similar friends with similar languages flowing around at home, and we talk to them. We read through all these questions with them, so we've got a little bit of perspective on this as we're going through it, which we might be dropping in as well. Jackie Williams-Jones, what language does he count in?
Like the alphabet, maybe? 1, 2, B, C, 5, 5, 6.
Yeah, he's all over the place with counting. I understand we swear and count in our native languages. I know he's too young to swear.
Yeah.
She asked if I speak Swedish. Jackie asked, yes, I speak Swedish. And for a family chat situation,
mostly English, but I would probably stick to Swedish if it's like we talk as a family. I know I said as a family we speak English, but it's more like you and me together we speak English.
If we were at the dinner table in Sweden with his grandparents, your parents, everything would be in Swedish. Unless I turned to Otis and said something.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. Because we talked the other day on FaceTime with your parents, and I was turning to him, and it felt weird to speak Swedish to him. I think it feels weird for you to speak English to him as well.
Yeah.
Interesting,
isn't it? Kind of, there's like a natural little like, oh.
You know, a little side point is there are a lot of people with multiple languages from circumstance, or people who've been forced into it. You hear stories of, I don't know, people from whatever country moving to an English country, and the parents just don't want to use their old language at all. Some people...
so they abandon their own.
Yeah. And then some people who think it's not cool to speak a foreign language. I get that as well.
Yeah. Just want to fit in.
This could be a whole season.
Yeah, definitely. But then there are people like my cousin. He has chosen, so he's Swedish, fully Swedish, Swedish wife, Swedish kids, Swedish, like
Swedish
fully.
Name.
Yeah.
Fredrik.
Fredrik. Hey, Fredrik, if you're listening.
He might be.
He has chosen to do bilingual upbringing with some of his kids.
Yeah.
So he speaks English, like basically only English with the younger ones.
Yeah, the youngest ones, he just decided to do English.
I know.
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
quite
crazy.
Fascinating.
And they're not in Stockholm or whatever. They're not in a big city. They're on a farm, basically.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Got to get him in the studio.
Yeah.
If he's listening, he's welcome. Next question is from Paul, an Englishman in Paris. He says, I'm wondering, when mingling with other polyglots, what's the go-to language of the children group? That happened recently with other children speaking French and Swedish about the same age.
Yeah.
I didn't notice anything favored.
No, I think it just turned into
Mostly
kids.
screams.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
shrieks
think they just
and
repeat
laughs.
whoever says anything
I think
first.
so too. They just kind of make up their own language.
I think those
also.
kind of questions work more when they're about 5.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too young still. But it's interesting.
Yeah, that'll be curious to see because we know other children who have a Swedish mum and an Australian dad living in Paris. We know the exact same combination with 2 children.
Yeah.
Hey, now's a good time to mention. We haven't said it on the podcast. I think it's best to reveal by sound. You ready?
Okay.
So there's a little news. We've got a second child on the way in a couple months.
Yes, early May.
Early May.
Or late April.
Who knows? Yeah.
Could
wow.
be.
Okay, so that's coming up in the background, everybody. We're pretty excited about it. But more on that at another point. Steve Balinsky says, I'm curious, when you and Lina talk to each other, is it in Swedish, English, or a mixture of both?
Yeah, it tends to be a little bit of a mix.
Depends who's listening.
Exactly.
You've got to be careful. I think I told the story on the podcast before when we were in a supermarket in Paris and a couple just pushed in front of us in the queue. And I turned to you and said in Swedish, I cannot believe these people pushing in front of us. They don't care. Where were they brought up?
Yeah.
And I noticed that they sort of did that thing where
they kind of stiffened.
Yeah, they stiffened and they turned like 5 degrees. And I realized that they were Swedish. And I said to you, again in Swedish, I said, and they understand me. And then they turned around.
Uncomfortable.
Conflict-averse Swedes, they turned around.
I know.
And they said, yes, we speak Swedish.
But also
where are you from?
conflict-averse, but they pushed in front.
I know, yeah.
What is going on?
They were probably from close to the border.
Oh, yeah.
Which border? You can figure it out for yourself. Do you want to read the next question out?
From Sarah, I was hoping you would do an episode on this. Oh, cool. After the nursery menu post.
I'll explain. I took a picture of the menu at the nursery, the crèche, and it went Earful Tower viral. Not viral, but it had lots of comments and shares and stuff because different cheese every day as a snack.
It's very French.
Yeah.
It's very good.
95% organic. It's like a menu at a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
What they eat.
And like different choices.
And I think it really resonated with people around the world because,
the differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me a bit of that book by Pamela Druckerman, Bringing Up Bébé, or French Children Don't Throw Food.
That's right.
Totally worth a read. Past guest on the show. Sorry, continue, Sarah Graham's.
Will do. Sarah also says, I literally read my mind. Lucky Otis being trilingual. Has he had much exposure to French outside of going to nursery? What age did he begin to show an understanding of which language to use with who?
Good questions.
Yeah, very.
French outside nursery shops and stuff.
Yeah, I
Old
guess.
ladies on the street.
Yeah, but at the moment it's mostly like bonjour, like a shy little bonjour.
But I suspect he knows way more than we realize.
Yeah.
Because he's at creche every day.
You can tell that the teachers at creche, they speak obviously French to him, and he's reacting accordingly. So
they told me that they don't speak English, by the way. There's just one who does, one teacher, and she told me the other day that to try and make him feel comfortable, she was pointing to the foods and saying the English
so
words, right?
Yeah.
So she was saying that's a whatever. That's a carrot. That's a word that's the same in French, but whatever. Potato.
Yeah.
And Otis was going, no potato, pomme de terre, like that. And she thought that was pretty amusing. So he knows, and that goes into the second part of the question. What age did he begin to show an understanding? Maybe we can figure that out, but he definitely knows
he does
who to speak what to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we've taken this example before in some sort of circumstance, but we were going to go for a walk a while back, and we were like, oh, go get the shoes, go get mommy's shoes and daddy's shoes and Otis' shoes. And
because we make him fetch everything.
Like a little dog. So he came back with Oliver's shoes and he was like, daddy's shoes. And then he came with my shoes and he was like, mammas skor in Swedish.
Yeah.
So that was quite fascinating.
Yeah.
That was maybe the first time where we were like, oh yeah.
He gets the difference. But I noticed that even this morning, because I've been thinking about this knowing we'd be doing the episode, even this morning before school, he switched to Swedish to talk to you about whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think it was because he couldn't find something and he asked me where it was and I said it was over there and then he walked over to you to ask. And I think you said to him, go and fetch me breakfast first. I'm kidding. No, but then he went and said a Swedish sentence to you.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to me that he just can make that switch.
I noticed, and I think this is going to show more as he gets a little bit older and smarter, that he can use language to sort of manipulate a little bit.
Go on, teach me now. I need to know this.
No, but it's like he asks for, a treat maybe in English, and you go no, and then he turns to me and asks for the same treat in Swedish.
Yeah, I've noticed that as
just
well,
kind
actually.
of like hoping for a different answer.
Yeah.
Or like
If I
maybe maybe they understand this
true.
word better.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting one to follow.
Not going to trick me. The next question from Mark Wellborn, another Patreon supporter. Just a shout out. Did you notice the huge ad at the start of the episode? Wasn't one. Patreon.com/theEvilTower members get access and extras. Mark Wellborn, he says, just really interested in your experience. That is, I realize Otis is quite young, but how well can he actually communicate with others that only speak English, French, Swedish, etc.? I mean, I think at the end of the day, he's 2.5. And I don't know how well a typical 2.5-year-old can speak at all.
I know some are very verbal, but I don't know.
I think children that are learning languages at the same time tend to speak it
takes longer.
Yeah. That's what they say about Danish children. Speak way later than, I don't know, other children because the Danish language is hard to decipher.
It's hard to differentiate between the words.
Yeah.
They kind of just like
like that. Yeah. So one day they're like 4 and they're like, oh, I think I get it. Yeah. So they can't just say the word apple or something. Yeah. So I think Otis is probably like if an English person came, a lovely English person came and started speaking to him.
English.
Yeah. Well, if they're horrible, he's not going to say a word.
Yeah.
I think you could have a conversation.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this? Yes, no,
I think
that
he's
kind of stuff.
comfortable.
Same in Swedish,
Definitely.
same in French. Otherwise, how would he survive at creche?
Yeah.
But the funny thing with the creche is
we don't really know. And also he doesn't speak it with us and we don't get to be in that world really. So it's
I've heard stories about people in the same boat as us and they take their child to a French doctor and the doctor says, okay, I'm just going to examine. And the doctor starts speaking and the child starts answering. And it's like the first time the parents get a chance to actually see, because it's like an authority figure telling what to do. Yeah.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Cool, huh? Carl Beam.
Yes.
Carl Beam pops in.
All right. I'll take this one.
Go for it.
If a question pops in his head and he poses it to Oliver on one hand or Lina on the other, what language would he generally use? Well, I think he'd mainly direct it in our native languages.
Yeah, I don't think he ever said anything to me in Swedish that he knows the English word for. And he doesn't like sometimes he doesn't like when we speak the other language. So if I'm in like a taxi or something, speaking French with a taxi driver, he tends to look at me as if to say, what
this is wrong. Get back.
No, I think it's worse
back
than
in
that.
Your place.
Yeah, I think it's worse. I think it's like, you're doing it wrong, Dad.
He's judging.
This is embarrassing.
Hardcore.
It's le, not la, like that.
Yeah, in his
but also
little
Swedish. He doesn't say, and reading books. He doesn't like you reading English ones.
Yeah.
Even though you speak English.
Yeah,
I get it. My Swedish isn't as good as your English, but he doesn't like me reading Swedish books or you reading English
books. If there's a Swedish book and you try to read it in Swedish, he goes like, nej, det är mammas. Like, that's mommy's book.
Yeah. I wrote down this morning, he also said the other day, fire truck red to me.
Yes.
Fire truck red.
So he uses the French, form.
Grammatical word,
Order.
Yeah. So instead of, because in French they say fire truck rouge. Interesting.
Yeah.
Next
Poor
question.
boy, totally confused.
People might be thinking that. Here's a question from Britta Johansson Murakami. My first thought, Johansson with S-E-N at the end sounds Danish, Norwegian?
Could be either.
And Murakami sounds Japanese. This sounds like a woman who has thought about these questions.
Yeah, maybe lived similar.
Yeah. Well, it could be a smart question. Are you ready? Once Otis starts école maternelle, oh my gosh, now she's using French. The minority language in your case will most probably become Swedish, at least as long as you live in France. What other sources besides Lina's mother tongue do you have available in Paris like toddler groups with other Swedish parents, or Svenska kyrkan småbarnsföräldragruppen, what a word, to support the minority language. In other words, how can Otis keep Swedish
alive?
If besides just from you?
Yeah. Well, we do have Swedish friends in Paris that we see regularly. So they speak Swedish to their children, and
sometimes when we hang out with them, it's all Swedish.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Danish.
Yeah, and Danish.
Help.
And also we go to Sweden regularly, and
fortunately Sweden's quite close.
Exactly. So I'm not too worried. I think it will be.
You play a lot
nice
of ABBA,
foundation.
but that's all in English, isn't it? There you go. That was all the questions that we had from people. I noted down as well. It's been funny when he comes home singing French songs from creche, and this is a double note here. When he comes home singing French songs, we have no idea. No idea.
Yeah, we just have to try to see if we can decipher one word and kind of Google our way.
And I thought that was and you can't, because we don't even know how he pronounces it. But then I thought everybody in the world has this problem. If you're at a daycare in Australia, they sing songs that you might not know as a parent, and the child comes home and says, and then the parents say, what is that song about, a koala or something? And you want to sing it, but you don't know. So I don't think that's actually such a weird thing.
No.
Except that we never, even when we learn what it is, we still
don't know the word. Or I never heard that.
Like he did that one about je tire.
Like
je tire, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Je tire le fil.
No, enroule
that's right.
le fil.
That's right.
Déroule le fil.
Yeah, it's about a thread or something.
Yeah, that he rolls and unrolls, ravels.
So,
whatever it's
called. So I just asked them about it one day, and they explained to me, and I still didn't really get it. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. I think that also features in Pamela Druckerman's book. The same exact songs, I think. The other thing that I thought might be funny to hear is I also speak Italian to...
Well.
No. Okay, I don't actually speak Italian, but I try to...
Mimic.
Well, I know a couple of Italian words.
You basically roll off a pizza menu.
Yeah. And I say that to him, and just to be fun and funny, and he loves it.
Yeah,
and
you have this whole character.
Yeah, I say that I'm Padro, and I call him Otto instead of Otis. And at first he was really, what's going on? But now if I when I'm making a pizza or spaghetti bolognese or something, I bring it over and I'll say, hey, it's a pizza. I'm Padro, like that. And he goes, Otto.
Yeah. And he goes like, si.
Yeah. So I think maybe... like children who learn languages have not necessarily a capacity, but a part of their brain where they understand
that there's something
that's
new
a different
going on.
language.
Yeah.
I switch to that mode.
Like that is a category in itself.
Yeah. And all this to say, I grew up, I probably didn't even hear a foreign language or register that it was a foreign language till I was, 12 or something. I don't know, maybe younger than that. But I never really thought, no one was ever trying to speak to me in anything.
Yeah. And even, in Australia, I assume all the music is mostly English, right?
That's a whole different topic, but I thought when I first moved to Sweden and I listened to radio there, and I heard not just that they had English songs, but they'd put Spanish songs, French songs.
Yeah.
And I thought that was crazy. I was like, I remember asking people, do you understand the lyrics to this French song? No. And I remember thinking in Australia, I don't remember ever hearing foreign songs on the radio. Maybe the Gypsy Kings.
Bamboleo.
Yeah, maybe that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
sure.
Maybe it's a whole European thing as well. That's a whole different discussion. But look, I think we can wind it up here as a shorter episode. Mm-hmm. That's an insight into a circumstantial trilingual 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
If you found it interesting, we'll redo it in a year or so and see where we're at.
The development.
How can we do this as a proof if people find it interesting? I think it's time for some emojis on social media.
Whoa.
What do you think? I think we'll put up a picture, something that says like a little family picture or something. And last time we did body parts, great reaction. Did you see all the... What will we do this time? Something to do with...
With food.
Food.
That you can put on a pizza.
Yeah. Extra points if it's an Italian food. And what I mean by that, because I always get messages from people going, what are you talking about? I mean, you press the little button that puts up emojis or smiley faces.
Sure.
And you put, I really enjoyed having a pizza conversation with you guys. A piece of okay, that one was a pretty bad one.
Or like a pear.
Yeah,
You know,
you
the
two are a
fruit.
pair of idiots.
Something
Perfect.
like that.
And what's the point of it? There's no point. There's no point in
Just
anything.
a bit of fun.
Yeah, I'll scroll through. I go, oh, she listens. Oh, he listens. But that'll do. So thanks for listening to the show. This is the Earful Tower. As I mentioned, my wife, Lina Norden G, mother superstar,
Aww.
and first lady of this podcast.
Oh.
Legally. That's legally.
Oh, yeah, it's legal.
Yeah.
You have to say that.
Yeah. So more episodes. Usually it's about Paris, things to do in Paris and France, but it's also about the French culture, hence this episode. A huge thanks to not just all the Patreon supporters who make this possible, but the active ones who send in questions like that, because I don't know what we would have been answering.
Oh, no, we would have been like boring, basically.
Boring.
Yeah, boring. Very boring.
So thanks, guys, and keep it up. I'll be back with another episode next week. Thanks so much, and au revoir. Au revoir, hey door, and goodbye.
Bye.
And arrivederci.